Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hello, Catholic pilgrims. Welcome to day 122 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. So today we're going to be continuing on with learning about how Sister Faustina wants this new congregation of hers to run. And she is listing out a bunch of ideas of how long she wants the sisters to be in their postulancy, how long she wants them to be novices. And as we're reading through it, you might at first think, this doesn't really pertain to my life. Today she's not really having deep conversations with Christ. She's more listing out how she wants this congregation to function. And we could maybe look at it and say, yeah, there's not much to get out of this today. But I think there is, and one of the things that I think is important to look at is the willingness of religious to give up a lot for Christ. And so that's what we're going to be talking about when we're done with our readings. And today they are from Notebook 2, numbers 542 through 548. Postulancy. Age of admission. Any person between the ages of 15 and 30. Firstly, the spirit with which the candidate is imbued and her character are to be taken into consideration, whether she has a strong will and the courage to follow in Jesus' footsteps with joy and gladness, as God loves a cheerful giver. She must despise the world and herself. The lack of a dowry will never be an obstacle to admission. All formalities concerning the candidate must be clear. No complicated cases should be admitted. Melancholy persons, those disposed to sadness, those suffering from contagious diseases, those of an unstable character, and those who are inclined to be suspicious of others are not adaptable to the religious life and must not be admitted. Members should be selected with greatest care, as one ill-fitting member is enough to throw the whole convent into confusion. The duration of the postulancy. The postulancy will last 1 year. During this time, the candidate should examine whether she is attracted to this type of life and whether it is suitable to her. The directress should also diligently consider whether or not the person in question is suitable for this type of life. After a year, if the postulant shows evidence of a stable will and an earnest desire to serve God, she should be admitted to the novitiate. The novitiate is to last 1 year without any interruption. At this time, the novice should be taught about the virtues relating to the vows and about the importance of the vows. The directress should do her utmost to provide a solid formation. Let her train the novices in the practice of humility, because only a humble heart keeps the vows easily and experiences the great joys that God pours out upon the faithful soul. The novices should not be burdened with duties that entail responsibility, so that they may be free to devote themselves to their own perfection. They are obliged to observe the rules and statutes strictly, as are the postulants. After a year of novitiate, if the novice proves faithful, she may be admitted to make her profession for 1 year. This is to be repeated for 3 years. She may then be given duties of responsibility. However, she will still belong to the novitiate, and once a week she must attend conferences together with the novices, and she will spend the last 6 months entirely in the novitiate in order to prepare well for her solemn profession. Meals. We will have no meat. Our meals shall be such that not even the poor will have any reason to envy us. Still, feast days may differ slightly from regular days. The sisters will eat 3 times a day. Fasts, especially the 2 great ones, will be observed strictly according to the original spirit. The food should be the same for all the nuns without exception, so that communal life may be kept pure. This refers not only to food, but to clothing and the furnishing of cells as well. However, if a sister should fall ill, she should receive every consideration. Prayers. 1 hour of meditation, Holy Mass and Holy Communion, prayers, 2 examinations of conscience, office, rosary, spiritual reading, 1 hour of prayer during the night. As to the horarium, it is better to draw it up after we have begun to live this type of life. Suddenly I heard these words in my soul. My daughter, I assure you of a permanent income on which you will live. Your duty will be to trust completely in my goodness, and my duty will be to give you all you need. I am making myself dependent upon your trust. If your trust is great, then my generosity will be without limit. Okay, so I learned a new word today. In the second to last paragraph, there is the word horarium. I think I'm saying that correctly. Horarium is the daily schedule for religious sisters, what they do each hour of the day. And so she's saying here it's just better to wait until they've started to live this type of life to kind of formulate how their day is going to actually flow. So that was a new word to me. Maybe you already know, but I learn something new every day. So as I said in the beginning, you may have read through this and it may have seemed a little dry. It's not the meaty theology and talks with Christ that we've been getting. But I still think that there's something that we can glean from what Sister Faustina has written down. Now, she's obviously organizing her thoughts on how she wants this congregation to go. And for those of us who are not religious, in the sense of being nuns or monks, reading through this might seem like it doesn't relate to us because as lay people, out in the world, there's a lot of this that we can't do. We don't take time to be postulants and novices and do those types of different things. We don't take certain types of vows that the religious do. Most of us don't have very, very, very strict diets. We don't all wear the same clothes. We don't all, decorate our homes the same. So we may read this and we're like, what can I get out of this? But I think it's something to look at because it shows us what our religious sisters go through. And sometimes we think of nuns, there's like two extremes. There's the hardcore nun that everybody has bad memories of back in parochial school that would slap your hand with a ruler. Or they're like super cuddly little lambs and they wouldn't hurt a fly. And so you can either have these two drastic opinions of what sisters are like. And I'm sure there's some stereotype there, and in stereotypes, there's always a little bit of truth. There's all kinds of sisters out there. They're individuals too. They're not, robots. But I think we forget that these are women of courage. These are women that are giving up so, so much. They don't have a lot of material items. They are praying all the time, or they're serving those in need, or they're teaching, or something like that. They are giving of themselves constantly. And, whether they're the very strict mother that we have our visions of with the ruler, or the cuddly little lamb sister, either way, all of them are giving up a lot for the sake of souls and for their own soul as well. What I love about reading today's readings is that it shows us that these religious sisters are strong. And even Sister Faustina says, if you are not strong-willed, you don't belong in this congregation. Because this is not easy. We're giving up a lot for Christ. We're doing a lot for Christ. And, if you can't hang, then, you shouldn't probably join. This isn't the place for you. And there's just something about that I absolutely love. They are strong-willed. They have courage. It doesn't mean that they don't struggle with, get all the sacrifices that they give up or, all the strict ways of their lives. I'm sure they struggle with that, but man, they are impressive. And I love that. And I think what we can take from that is, so often as lay people out in the world, we get so cushy. We are so cushy, especially in the States. We don't even know how cushy we are. And if anything goes a little wrong, we whine about, oh, I want meat on Fridays in Lent, and oh, it's so hard. And we whine about having to, go to Mass for an hour. Oh, it's just so difficult. And, to get everybody rounded up. Yeah, it takes some effort. And the fact that we can be so weak-willed sometimes and just so whiny about having to offer up some sacrifices or suffer a little or get a little uncomfortable, it just drives me crazy. And, I'm guilty of this too. I whine about stuff and I'm like, oh, that's not super comfortable. And, I tell myself constantly, don't wimp out. Christianity is not for wimps. If you're looking for cushy comfort that gets along with the world and goes with the world and just swims along with all the other fish in the sea, then you're getting nothing out of it. It does nothing for you, honestly. And so reading today's readings, again, it just shows me there's always something more that we can be doing. And sometimes we just need to get a little uncomfortable. We need to make ourselves uncomfortable. And if we're inclined to, gripe and complain about, mass going 5 minutes too long, or there's not enough places to park in the parking lot, or, oh, do I really have to go to a holy day of obligation during the week? Oh, that's hard. Sometimes we just got to buck up. This is all for Christ. And just think about what he did for us. Look at a crucifix, meditate on his passion, and I guarantee you're going to say, yeah, it's not so bad. So that is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. We will be reading more tomorrow about how she wants this congregation to go. Hang in there. I know it's not like the meaty stuff that we have been used to, but there is stuff to get out of this. And, we'll find it and we'll talk about it. So I will see you back here tomorrow for day 123. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.